That surveillance footage not only taken from this camera above me, but also captured using a camera built into this ATM machine. As you can see, one of those power poles landed right on top of this late model silver Jetta, leaving it with a huge dent. Over 75% of it comes from the Gulf of Mexico. Everything from these stone crab claws to, take a look at this huge black tip shark. That's why workers spent all of Tuesday placing this, what is called a frost cloth, on over 100 acres of strawberries, destroying everything on the inside and on the outside. I want to show you, take a look at these two antique tractors, completely destroyed by the fire. I'm told they were worth quite a lot of money. Mayaca Drive has turned into the Mayaca River. As you can see right now, I'm walking through ankle-deep water. The more you go down the street where we can't get our truck, the higher the water level is. At one point, it was up above my knees. It was underneath this bridge where that floating body was discovered. Anytime we look underneath our couch cushions, we usually find some change, maybe some leftover candy wrappers and crumbs. But have you ever unzipped the cushions to find out what's inside of them? Let me tell you, they are really swinging for the fences, trying to raise over $25,000 in the first year. Well, Scott, Lauren, good evening. Coming to you live tonight from the Braden River Lakes community, which is right off of Highway 64 here in Manatee County. And as you mentioned, just a very unfortunate turn of events in this pond behind me. A 5-year-old little girl, autistic, drowns, all while her family located inside of that gray house. They didn't know anything about it. I want to show you some of the video from earlier today. The Bradenton Police Department, they were called out to the scene around 1:30. Two witnesses report seeing the girl playing in ankle-deep water. She then ventured out too far, fell in, and never resurfaced. One of those witnesses, his name is Les Sheedek. He jumped in, attempted to save her, but it was too late.
I ran back into my home, called 911, and then I ran out, I threw the phone, I swam out, and then I was in the water till the police came. And I just ran out of breath.
Again, a very emotional time for all the parties involved here. It took the Manatee County Sheriff's Office dive team about an hour and a half to locate the girl. That's because this water is just extremely murky. We're told there is very little visibility. When they did find the girl, she was located in about 7 feet of water. As to her identity, we have not been told her name yet because all the family members have still not been notified, including her own mother, who we have been told is out of town. Scott and Lauren, back to you. Yeah, Lauren, good evening. That surveillance footage not only taken from this camera above me, but also captured using a camera built into this ATM machine. Deputies say that Brotherton was asleep somewhere in this area inside of his car. That's when this suspect approached him and forced him to come to this bank to withdraw money. It was only 4 minutes after the two men left the bank that deputies say Brotherton was murdered. Cameras roll as James Brotherton attempts to withdraw money from an ATM on November 21st. At his side is the man that deputies say was the last to see him alive.
Someone has to recognize this face, and they can really help us solve this murder.
Authorities believe that the man dressed in all dark clothing and a rain hat approached Brotherton while he was sleeping in his car and then forced him to drive to a bank to withdraw money. After showing the suspect that he has no money left in his account, the two drive away. Brotherton's body is discovered a short time later on Gulfgate Drive.
We believe it was just a random robbery attempt. Why you have to kill someone in this failed robbery attempt makes no sense at all.
Dom Avenoso agrees. The bus driver turned pizza chef was friendly with Brotherton when he worked alongside him at SCAT.
He was a nice person, nice with everybody. You never see him argue with anybody.
Avenoso hopes sheriff's deputies find this mystery man soon.
A person like that, you don't expect to hear anything bad. Usually things, people like him, doesn't happen.
If you have any information on who this man is, you're asked to call the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, or you can give Crime Stoppers a call. That number is 366-TIPS. A reward of up to $1,000 is being offered to anybody with information. Lauren, back to you. Scott. Scott, Lauren, good evening. This is perhaps one of the most coincidental stories you will ever hear about. Detectives here at the sheriff's office announcing just about an hour ago that the man who attempted to shoot a deputy a couple of weeks ago during an eviction notice is the man responsible for the death of 64-year-old Karen Courts. His name is William Case. Now, you may remember Courts was stabbed to death inside of her Kensington Park home back on March 31st, 2011. For over a year, detectives had no suspects. They had little evidence. Then the unexpected. When Case was sent to jail, they analyzed his New Balance sneakers. That's when they found a link between those shoes and a bloody footprint found in Courts' home. They say it's a match.
What would appear just to be a simple eviction notice by a deputy doing his job every day many times evolves into other things we learn later. And in this case, we were very fortunate of some of the things, number one, by our deputy defending himself and staying alive and returning fire and defending the people with him. But we also were able to gain information off this individual who was involved in that shooting.
And back out here live, we still don't know what the motive is in this case. We don't know if Case knew Courts. Case remains behind bars under a $500,000 bond. He has not been charged with murder. But again, this is just an unbelievably coincidental case. Sheriff's deputies, when they went to this home, had no idea that this man was linked to the death of Karen Courts. Lauren and Scott, back to you. Well, Lauren, good evening. Authorities say that the owner and operator here at M&M Pet Rescue simply did not comply with many of the rules to house those dogs. We'll get to more on that in just a moment. But late this afternoon, as you mentioned, officials with Animal Services arrived here at the business, gathered 37 dogs from their cages, mostly in the back of this building, and then took them to the Animal Services shelter off of Bee Ridge Road. As you can imagine, there are a lot of heartbroken volunteers tonight, many who were with those dogs from the very beginning. One by one, 37 dogs are taken from their cages at M&M Pet Rescue. Authorities walk some and carry others to several vans waiting to transport them to the county animal shelter.
My heart goes out. It's like, now what?
Emotional volunteers watch in disbelief, crying as they say goodbye to their four-legged friends.
I'm like in tears now. You know what I mean? I came down, I'm just looking and I'm like crying. I'm like, I can't believe it. And all these dogs that we're attached to, all these dogs that we know, we feed, we take care of, we walk, we bonded with these dogs.
Animal Services officials say it's necessary that they take care of the dogs for now, after the shelter was cited for several violations.
We've received a number of concerned citizen calls about the conditions of the animals and this facility.
Violations include housing the dogs in small cages, not having sprinklers, smoke alarms, or a plan to evacuate the dogs during an emergency.
We will care for and examine the animals, and then they will be put up for adoption. They're all in good health. They all appear in good condition. They're not mistreated any way, shape, or form.
All these dogs need now is a good home. And back out here live, as you can see, M&M Pet Rescue, not only a dog adoption center, but a thrift store as well. We're told the thrift store will remain open. As for those dogs, as you heard in the report, they will be up for adoption sometime soon. If you want to find out how you can adopt one of those 37 dogs, you can either call Animal Services or you can check out the information on our website. That's mysuncoast.com. Lauren, back to you.
Well, Max, besides losing the ability to house animals at his business, is it possible the owner may now face charges?
Well, that is a possibility. According to the sheriff's office, he could face some misdemeanor animal cruelty charges, all because of those small cages that these dogs were in. But at the moment, no charges have been filed.